And we're recording. So, quick introduction to those who do not know each other around this table. Let's start with at the top of the screen. Let's start with M. M, can you please describe Gale for us? Name her and describe her.
Thanks for letting me finish my food, but Gale is, let's start with race and class, that's going to be easiest. Gale is a Water Genasi Cleric and Tempest Cleric. She is... she was a mercenary sailor, and then she decided the next stop would be a little too animated for her. So she stayed at the last city her group stopped at, and that was Waterdeep, where she met an interesting group of fellas and had wonderful Waterdavian adventures with them.
Yes, so for those, again, I'm going to put your volume a bit down here. So for those who will be watching this, all of these characters are level 6, as they have just completed the Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. So careful, there might be spoilers in the character introductions and into the introduction of this adventure. There will be character introductions for each and one of these fabulous people, and I think, maybe give a link to the character sheets. Just know that if they do finish this adventure level 15, and that's when you start, you will be seeing spoilers in the character sheets, of course, including if one of them might die, for example. Anyways. Let's go on. Jin, could you talk to us about Heinrich?
Well, I am Heinrich Junior Thunderstaff, a human wizard with specialization in chronomancy, time magic. He is from nobility in Waterdeep and wanted to have a taste of adventure and discovered a fine group of fellow adventurers, and he discovered piece by piece what adventuring really is. And after some adventures, he stayed with them and said, maybe adventuring is something good for me. And that's it.
Gab, you want to talk about Sorsha?
Yeah, so I play Sorsha, who is a bard, a changeling bard to be precise, and she's a bit of a smartass with a quite heavy past. And so her companions now know that she's a changeling, and that's we don't know much more at this point.
Save it for the extra. Save it for the bonus.
Yeah. Yes, but she has some of her family hanging around the party and helping the party. So other changelings. And, well, you'll discover more.
And let's go. Finally, let's talk to Jan. Talk about Vroondomon.
So, Vroondomon is a Luxodon who came from Schultz. Yes, there are Luxodon in Schultz to deal with it. He is a Oath of Glory Paladin, and he came to Waterdeep as a diplomat from the city of Port Nyanzaru, together with some other diplomats, and got involved with this lovely group here. And but we don't know it yet. He might be going home soon.
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, there will be callbacks to some of the things that they've and to things that they've witnessed and experienced during the Dragon Heist campaign. Also, certain characters. So, again, spoilers for specifically the spring. No, sorry, autumn version of the campaign. Um, so, anyways, now that that's done, we're just waiting for M to get back to her seat, and we'll start. Unless she can hear us. Oh, she's there. There we go.
She's back.
I can always hear you.
Yeah.
Dun, dun.
Anyhow, so let's start in, shall we? We are the at the end of the year of three ships. Um, let me see. It is and as we pan over the city of Waterdeep, we follow the flight of a griffin of the city guard, silently gliding between the columns of smoke coming from the chimneys below. The gray smoke seemingly feeding the equally gray and heavy snow clouds above. It's ash-colored snow that lazily falls over the city, but it's enough to keep most inhabitants hibernating in their homes. The streets are almost empty, and so is the tap room of the Trollskull Manor. While Gale and Heinrich, you both have you are somewhat used to this sort of weather, and Sorsha might have felt this kind of cold before, in other circumstances. Vroondomon is getting the brunt of the discomfort, and has been spending most of his days as closely as possible to the fire in the tap room or the kitchen, in company of his new contact, Jalester Silvermane, an agent for the Lord's Alliance. But it's no secret that his thoughts have been more and more been directed towards home. Weeks have passed since the events around the Stone of Galore, and your lives have gotten a bit quieter. The attention from the short sheets and the street corner bards have died down, and in no small part to the new story in town. Whilst not forgotten, the names Vroondomon Drowbane, Gale Mistscale, Sorsha Dragonsinger, and Heinrich Lockstep have been replaced by those of Night-Eye Jenks, Roofrunner's Star Above Sunset, and others of their colleagues. The Silver Nets, as they are nicknamed, are a group of watchmen dedicated to the hunt and capture of were-rats, and their stories have been chronicled and exaggerated for days now. Or at least that's what they've been telling Caleb over the bar. The last couple of weeks have been slow. You still patrol on occasion for Force Grey, but with the Zentarum scattered, the Xanathar's guild gone to ground, this winter is a peaceful one. We find ourselves on the 26th of Nightdale, the last month of the year of three ships, or 1492 by Dale reckoning. The midday bell has just rung. What are all you doing?
I
Doing
think you would find Sorsha in the room playing, trying to get everybody a bit of energy and comfort, since everybody seems to be a bit gloom.
Hmm.
I
I
hate
think.
this weather.
Well,
I'd heard of snow, but I do not care for it.
ah, come on, Vroon. You know, you have a nice warm fire in the kitchen,
Mhm.
in the tap room. It's in the head, you know. Think about warm thoughts, and it will all be fine. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure of that.
not that bad. In other place, you don't have snow, but you have other things.
I'm used to other things.
Yes, but that also those other things harmless because snow is.
Are Are you sure though?
What?
Snow is not. I would not qualify snow as harmless.
Well, in our position, it is. We have a home.
Yes, in this case, indeed, snow is not that much of an issue to us.
But yes, it's too much quiet those days.
Yeah.
I am not complaining at all. With all my heart, I am not complaining at all. At least I can spend some time with you guys without running around. And
You
it's
should
nice.
have thought that. You did have fun with your part of thrill.
Gale is actually in a corner of the tap room, um, mending, probably mending a bit of her armor, or just keeping up, making sure that everything is up to up to inspection standards. Actually,
Feel
Vroon
free
is like sticking another log in the fire with his trunk thing.
Sure.
That's actually the only part of Rune that we see is its trunk. Everything else is just enveloped in a cocoon
big
of
blanket.
blankets.
Come on, Leaf can do it. Leaf, by the way, is our ghost bartender.
Yes.
Yes.
Liv, you find yourselves in the tap room of the Trollskull Manor and Tavern, and we'll be moving. There we go. And you are pretty much alone. Liv is absent-mindedly sort of cleaning the different glasses and bottles and all the glassware. So you can see invisibly holding up this rag that seems to be going back and forwards um, on the shelves. Caleb is well looking pretty much bored at this moment as he's just reading something, probably one of the short sheets that he's that talking about the latest Ratcatcher news. There's a there is a lull definitely that's been happening, but nah, it's comfortable. So Gale, you're preparing you're sort of working on your armor. Heinrich and Sorsha are berating Vroon. Vroon is trying not to shiver, and all in all, lazy afternoon. When all of a sudden, in all three of yours is all four of you, sorry, minds, you hear a familiar voice. Yawning portal, now, all four of you, and bring Caleb. Drop anything you are doing now. You recognize the voice immediately coming from, well, technically your boss, Vajra the Blackstaff Safar.
The armor doesn't drop. The armor goes on, and then I'm on my way.
What the heck?
I don't know, but that sounded serious.
Yes,
I'll
but
get my stuff. I'll come back.
that's the first time she's mentioning Caleb.
That is true.
And
Caleb,
that
Caleb's face sort of turns up, hearing his voice. What was that now?
His name
you're summoned by the Black Staff, and
with
you're
us.
not part of, well, the deal.
Oh no! Oh no! 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 You said I wouldn't be involved with you people.
Yes,
The Black Staff has decided differently. Do you want to take it up with the Black Staff?
I might.
Good luck.
You're welcome to complain. We're going to the yawning portal.
You're funny.
Yep. Yawning
Yeah.
portal.
Yep.
Apparently.
Fine.
Liv, can you keep an eye out on the house?
The chalk sort of scratches on the blackboard in the back end, just sort of not with a yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, let's go. Last time it was about a mind flayer. What could be wrong this time?
I have no idea, but her tone. She was calmer about the mind flayer.
I'm gonna
Yes.
put nuggets like around my neck, and I'm gonna be like, well, let's see. She was quite charming.
Scarf nugget.
Yes, scarf nugget is a new thing.
As you head out into the streets, you find yourselves in
Rune will for sure be riding Kumari.
to keep out. Okay, to keep out from the snow. Yeah, clever. Yeah. So Kumari, your Triceratops mount, Paladin mount, appears in a. I don't think we've. Did we describe the way that she sort of appears? Is it a sort of blinding light or?
It's sort of a fading in, like more of a. I'm like, what the?
Okay. So the familiar mass of Kumari appears, and she has this moment of confusion as she doesn't know what she's stepping in. It looks like she's deep enough for it to be mud, dust.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. She's
First going like, I know, girl, I know. I hate it too.
It's about 30 to 40 centimeters, a good foot of snow that has been left in at least in the side streets. And while the city workers have been tirelessly pushing sort of off the main fairways, there's not much work being done in your places. Even though the Northward is one of the more outstanding parts of the city. You head down to DeLorean Street. Take a right in DeLorean Street all the way up to the high road, and you are headed south from the North Ward, Castle Ward, down towards the Yawning Portal. As mentioned beforehand, the city has stopped, pretty much. The only people that you see outside are either poor or servants, so pretty much this one and the same. And with Kumari leading the charge, drifting a path within the snow is fairly easygoing.
Yay, Kumari!
But on occasion, you'll cross a carriage, horse-drawn, going back and forth, as most people do not want to be moving about in the city in the snow and ash. As you get to the Yawning Portal, you start seeing more activity. Adventurers sort of post. You can see there's been huge posters sort of nailed to the outside of the Yawning Portal, calling for adventurers, calling for bounties. Specifically, trolls.
Trolls.
Trolls. And you can see multiple people and decked out in winter gear and armor, weaponry, sort of reading about some of them sort of tearing off the posters, other grabbing the posters and nailing it back up. There's some commotion as to the price that seems pretty high. As you make your way into the yawning portal, sort of pushing people aside, Vroondomon is very good at that. His mass just opens up the flood, separates the flood of the adventurers. You notice that inside isn't less busy. Around the famous well going down into the Undermountain, you can see no less than 3 expeditions, each of them between 5 to 8 persons strong, that seem to be waiting their turn to the winch that is bringing down. Among them, you notice Yagra, currently waiting, a mug of mulled wine in front of her, and clearly sharpening her axe.
Definitely give her a like hug her and good to see you again.
As she turns, you notice that the medallion that she had marking her employer is gone, and she sort of nods and says, "Well, I've been out of work now for a couple of weeks. This might be a good windfall. Plus, I know trolls."
Why the specific troll?
Beats me. They're asking just trolls. What's weird is that they're asking them for alive. So this is not an
Alive. That's a challenge.
yeah, it is. Ah,
Well,
a
good
live
luck.
troll isn't too difficult. Lub up the limbs. As long as you don't even cut off the head. And if you do, you get 2 trolls. If you're lucky.
Well, good luck wrestling trolls. I hope we won't be doing the same. Pushing that one down the portal was hard enough.
Yeah, if I can find that one. That was a fun day. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Durnan already took care of that.
Speaking of Durnan, a gruff voice coming from the bar says, "Hey, you, the big one. Yes, you. Come here."
Vroon looks at Yagra and then to himself and like, which one does he? Oh, I think me. I think me. Yeah.
Yagra looks at you and says, "Yeah, that's it. No, it's you."
Hey, he's also the big one.
Is Bunny around? Because I would
You
probably.
do not see Bonnie around, no.
Huh. That kind of put me off. Like,
Vroon will start wading
She
towards the
has
bar.
her off days as well, you know.
but knowing her in a commotion day like that,
Yeah, it's a bit peculiar. Yeah, you don't see her around the room. No. There's several other waiters that Durnan utilizes on a regular basis. So maybe it's her
yeah,
day off.
I'm probably looking at Caleb like,
Caleb is not feeling. He's feeling a bit nervous, definitely, as in he's not used to. Well, he's used to crowds, but this is not his crowd.
yeah,
And he's been the way he's been looking around seems to echo your feelings. He doesn't see Bonnie. He's a bit worried. He's a bit wondering why. And you have that moment where both of you are knowing what each other is thinking. So Durnan pretty much calls you over.
I will wade through the crowds and
The rest of you,
how may I help you?
and as you start sort of moving forward, he by the hand he signals to the other 4 of you to sort of follow
Yeah.
in.
Oh yeah, well,
Okay,
I
I'll
follow.
follow also.
As you step towards the bar through the crowd, he has a quick word with the bartender at his left, sort of nodding, and he moves towards the edge of the bar and pretty much brings you, sort of opens a back door. The door has a large sign, employees only, keep out. You know who you are. I think there would probably, on the pain of Durnan, and there's just a sort of a crossbow shaft sort of into that is pinning the sign up.
Subtle.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Very subtle.
Oh,
you can't be subtle with a crowd like the one in the yawning portal.
Yeah.
you know the deal. Everyone keep within 10 feet of me.
Yeah, it's mostly for heat. You ask that for heat for people to come in. He brings you to the back of the tavern, and you notice as you come in onto a sort of a landing with a series of stairs going down and stairs going up, and with another landing going upwards. As far as you know, while you do know that Durnan keeps an apartment or living quarters, but this seems to be the private area, Durnan's private area. As he leads you up the steps, the wood doesn't even creak under your weight, Vroon. It's sturdy. But you can see that the railings and everything is polished, completely and well maintained. Actually, probably in better condition than the tap room. As you go up the flight of stairs, you find yourself in. Durnan sort of opens a door, and you find yourself in what looks to be a small apartment, situated on top of at the top of the back of the yawning portal. In there, you see um, sitting on a pair of chairs are a woman, maybe in her late 50s, being maybe consoled or comforted by a young man, maybe late 20s. He seems to be more of a scholarly build, as in you can see spectacles. You can see he's wearing the outfit of a city clerk. Um, the woman, as I mentioned, seemed dressed simply, but sort of rich, simple. As in, you can detect, you can see that this is a woman of means, but she's not ostentatious about it.
No one would recognize.
No, you would have never seen these people. At to your right, there's another door that seems closed, that is closed at the moment. But as you step in and Durnan sort of ushers you in, there's a strange look from both of the characters towards Durnan. And as he closes the door, he ushers you forward towards the closed door. As Vroon, you step forward, the door cracks open, and you can see Mert on the other side. Ah, well, took you long enough. Please come in.
Wait, we're not expecting you, but sure.
There's a lot of things that you want being expected, and I'm usually not expected. Anyways, come in, come. Thank you. Now as Durnan sort of goes to open the door and leave again. No. You stay. Now that we're all here, we need to talk. Durnan sort of shrugs and moves about. and moves to follow you in. Caleb he has no idea what's going on.
Neither do we.
But you see Durnan sort of coming up towards him and sort of tapping him on the shoulder and sort of pushing him forward. As you move forward in silence under the gaze of these the two observers, and actually Durnan moves towards them, and in sort of whispered tone, sort of kneels down in front of them to be at sort of a face level, and sort of there are whispers and that start among the three. You're ushered into a simple bedroom. But around the bed, you can see old paintings, portraits. Some of you might recognize as being old adventurers. One of them of Durnan. And Vajra Safar sort of leaning over the bed. In the bed, there's a figure. You can hear sort of coughing. You can hear a bit of difficulty of breathing coming from the person in the center. And as she ushers you in, you get to see the face of the person lying there. He is sickly, pale, but very much Durnan.
What? Oh. What?
His complexion is pale, and you can see that over his hands, some of the veins have gone black. He seems to have almost shrunken on some areas. Like if old age had caught up with him too quickly, or he had been sucked out of water, so that decrepit kind of thing. You can see that he's had difficulty breathing. There's a moment of realization, and as you turn towards the Durnan that brought you in, the familiar face of Bonnie reappears, sort of shrinks, and sort of nods towards you, specifically to you, Sorsha.
Sorry, what?
Vajra takes a necessary precaution. Thank you, Bonnie.
That's what I meant. You know exactly what I meant. So you employ my friends.
Vajra replies, "Oh no. Bonnie here was an employee of Durnan's long before I noticed them. The only reason why, well, with you, of course. One of the reasons why I tolerated doppelgangers in my city."
So you know.
I have known for some time.
And I assume Mert knows. But, well, it's not.
Mert looks at you and says, "Don't worry. Your companions have been watched over for some time, and we've come to the conclusion that they are no danger to the city, as opposed to other of your kind. It's well, we've had misgivings with doppelgangers. You were under surveillance, and well, as everything was doing well, there was no need for alarm. Though, Bonnie, Caleb, let's talk, shall we?" And Caleb is sort of brought outside. Mert following them, and the door closes. Mert, you can see he's not doing too well either. He seems to be sweating profuse, a bit more than usual. Maybe lost a little weight. As Vajra looks to you, she says, regardless of that situation, we have another one. There's been something happened on at the solstice, as far as we're aware. That's when things began. Adventurers, nobles, clerics have been hit by a strange disease, a strange illness. Nothing seems to cure it. Nothing seems to, well, at best, it can slow things down. We have
things.
We have seen that, well, most, if not all of those who are affected, share one trait in common: resurrection. Durnan here has been an adventurer of quite repute in his day, and, well, has been brought up back up a few times by his friends. It seems that that resurrection is no longer taking. Yes, Miloon as well, and he's in much worse shape.
Has anyone any ideas of the cause of the illness?
The temples are ablaze with trying to find anything they can have. A big power of the church is their power over life and death, and while healing magics are still efficient, anything beyond the realm of death is inaccessible. I've managed to talk with several of the oracles in the city, and they seem to point to two things. One, a word, the soulmonger. There is nothing,
Soulmonger.
anything more than that, and it's blocked. Just the name. We don't know if it is a person, a thing, an object. We have no information. Some portents seem to describe it as an object or an artifact of some sort. But it's unclear. The only other thing that is clear is that the soulmonger is in Chult.
Ears flap up and like, excuse me?
Which is why I've called on you. The city owes you a great debt, paid in full, with regards to the, well, the trove.
Reward was quite generous.
And the Mind Flail?
Well, that was something else. That was personal. No, this is on a larger scheme. We have no idea how far this curse is affecting Faerun. We've had reports from all the way to Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter.
Oh.
For as we know, the whole world is enveloped with this.
Was this related to Jolt?
The portents seem to indicate that the soulmonger is in Chult, somewhere in the peninsula. There's no, but anything related to Chult is mysterious and blocked in a certain way. Divination there doesn't work as well. Apparently, our gods don't have an easy view of that territory.
Excuse me, but what do you expect of the few of us to do with it?
I expect you four to produce the same kind of miracles that you've done here in Waterdeep. Which is, I want you to go to Chult. I want you to find the soulmonger. And I want you to destroy whatever it is.
Salt is a big place, and most of it unexplored.
Well,
Yes. Which is why, and she turns towards Vroon, which is why you will need a guide. There are a lot of people that I well, no, actually, there's not a lot of people I could trust with this.
you would have to take this up with Prince Jobal, no?
That is, well, I need you to meet someone. I am out of my depths in this case, so I will bring you to an expert. Now, as to why you, well, as I mentioned, you've pulled off miracles more than I would have expected in the last couple of months. And, well, most of the more veteran Force Grey agents within Waterdeep are going to have their hands full. If the word comes out that resurrection is no longer an option, well, you can imagine the chaos. The last thing that we want is the Xanathar's Guild or even the Shadow Thieves of Automn deciding that they can pick off easily members of nobility or even the Hidden Lords. And people will find out. So I am reactivating Force Grey, and as such, I am sending you off. I'm sure that you won't be the only ones, but you're the ones that I am sending.
I am so glad Mert is the one explaining it to Caleb. Really.
Your
Well,
friends are
I,
going
for
to
one,
have a very interesting time. As
Impersonating unfit members of nobility and
oh no, we want them. That's the thing. Their abilities are going to be useful for public appearances, yes. Making sure that things. Well, I'm pretty sure that Mert will have them busy for the next couple of months. Or as long as you are busy in finding this thing.
So you want my family to take the appearance of nobility and take risk for nobility?
well, and us, it seems.
They will be given the opportunity to help the city out.
Yeah. Yes, so that's exactly what I've said.
If they
But
decide not to, well, that is their prerogative. But that is a discussion that is not up to you, is it?
well, it is my family, so that's why I'm
Yes.
asking if you are forcing them or if they have the choice, a real choice.
I could give them a false choice. I'm not going to. I want them to be willing in this endeavor. The last thing that I need is an angry doppelganger in this kind of situation.
I'm glad we understand
But
each
I
other.
trust Mert to make the arguments. So,
Yeah. Okay, as long as I mean, I know my family. I know they handle risk and they don't put too much of it. So
Your family handled risk, all right.
they handled me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're more than a handful.
just trying to. I mean, you know, doppelgangers are tough things. So there's I don't think there's really any worries to be had on that on that. No, I just realized that our public has been watching the map for the past 10 minutes while we're playing. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Surprised that they agree to it, but well,
As far as you know, this is the first time they're hearing about it. So if they brought in Caleb, they've been talking maybe to Bonnie. The other three are probably most likely unaware of what's going to be proposed. But Bonnie and Caleb being the head of the group, who knows?
yeah. And Bunny seems to know about it and seems to be going with it. So
Vajra sort of ushers you with the movement of her staff towards the door and says, "Let's let this one rest and let his family back in."
yeah.
As you step out, in one corner of the room, Caleb and Bonnie are having a fairly strong argument. There's a lot of pointing and movement of arms, um, sort of gesturing towards yourself, towards the situation. Bonnie on occasion sort of pointing to the door. Mert seems to be sort of standing off to the side, sort of watching you come into the room. And Vajra on her end has a quick word with the two other people in the room, and they sort of usher into the bedroom, and the door closes behind them. Mert sort of sees you as he sees you come out. Goes, well, you've been made aware of the situation then.
How did
We
it go,
have.
Caleb?
Yes, we did.
Sorry, what was that? I heard it. Then.
How did it go with Caleb?
Oh, wow. A Harper knows.
That's
Plus,
of violence then.
I mean, we've been watching you, and yes, well, no, to tell the truth, Bonnie helped.
Okay.
So, Vajra has drafted you into this curse-finding business, has she then? Well,
Yeah. We have a goal but no plan, basically.
oh, he sort of coughs up, and you can see he brings out a sort of a handkerchief, to his sort of coughs into it, and there's just enough that you can see that the handkerchief is a very dark red, almost black, as he sort of, yes, well, if she hadn't, I would have probably called on you to help, Harper's and all, yes. Mm.
DM, just while seeing the effects, I'm gonna try to observe him
Mhm.
and use my arcane knowledge to see if I remember something of a magical influence who can recreate the same effect that's happening with the people. Could I try?
Yeah, sure. Make an Arcana check.
First roll of the evening.
First roll of the
Ooh.
evening.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Let's move to.
First roll of the new campaign.
Yes.
Oh,
That
what
is
an
a
honor.
15. Unfortunately, no. There are high level necromancy spells that suck the life. Actually, a lot of necromancy is about transferring life energy from one way to the other. But usually, there's not isn't this wasting. This is a powerful curse. And to be, I mean, on one person, yes, probably. 2 or 3 people, okay. City, that's big. But multiple cities across a whole coastline, maybe even further, that is an epic. That's god tier.
You see Heinrich becoming a bit like with a very frowning face, and he's muttering against himself and thinking like, yeah, but it's not possible. And he's talking against him for a while and looking at him. Yeah, no, 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 and that's what he will do.
A heavy hand from Mert sort of plops onto your shoulder, Heinrich, and says, "Don't worry about it. These things, they happen, and we'll survive. Mert always survives. I'm more worried about my friend Durnan there. Lucky I have one of these." And he sort of raises his hand, and at his finger, you can see a dull, sort of greenish metal band that seems to pulse, um, almost like a heartbeat. And you can see, Heinrich, as you're looking forward, you can see that there's a that the veins that as when he raises his hand, you can see the black vein sort of moving towards his hand, and so ever so often sort of oscillates, sort of back up and down according to the heartbeat.
That's a nice object.
Ring of regeneration. Never leave home without it.
Yes, I can see why there's a.
This is the only thing that's been keeping me upright in these last week.
I can
Henceforth
see
with the
why
troll.
there's more interest in trolls.
Oh yes, oh yes. I believe there's probably quite a big order coming for the Thunderstaff Academy in a few days, once we've secured the proper materials. And these rings will be distributed as quickly and as discreetly as possible to persons of higher interests, of course.
Oh,
We wouldn't want the hidden lords to fall ill.
Well, personally, I can't wait to leave this cold place. But
Yes, my friend. I could understand your willingness to. Was your first winter in Waterdeep? Is it not?
do not care for it. But how
understand.
we will be traveling?
Oh well, I believe Vajra has a plan for that.
Because sailing to Chult is going to take a couple of months.
It will take a long time and will cost money due to the dragon turtle and all that.
Well,
we've learned to know the Blackstaff a little bit. I think she has a plan.
yeah.
as you mentioned the Blackstaff, you sort of turn towards her, and you notice that she's been tapping into the side of a cupboard, sort of tapping, and you can see every time she taps, there's a sort of a rune that is being marked on the edge of the. As you sort of turn towards her, she looks towards you, taps one final time, She says, "If you would please follow me." She opens up the cupboard, and you can see that there's another room on the other side of it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, I just hope that at one point we can go back home to take our stuff before leaving.
That would be handy indeed.
And Heinrich, be sure to learn that spell.
He just gives a small glare, shook his head, and he just go through the door. And you just hear him mumble a bit loudly.
As you walk through, you find yourselves in a chilly center room of a house, of a sort of a grand manse. Probably something you would find in the Upper Castle Ward. It is an old home, very much reminiscent of that of Mertz, as in old stylings, old furniture, polished. You can see on occasion remnants of discoveries, and there are maps on well, Mert's mansion mostly had trophies and artifacts. This one seems to be maps, drawings of landscapes and such. Vajra brings to a grand staircase, sort of this grand marble thing. Where you can, at the bottom, you can see a uninformed sort of an attendant that sort of nods and sort of ushers you upwards. You are led to the third floor, and then Vajra, leading you, ushers you into a wood-paneled room with a fireplace, fairly comfortable chairs, if a bit dusty, and a heavy table bearing goblets and bottles of wine. The darkly paneled walls are hung with maps and sea charts. Racks, shelves, and cabinets hold hundreds of or more rolled up maps and charts. This whole wall is sort of beehived with these crisscrossing, sort of almost like wine racks, but with shelved with these charts. In a overstuffed chair next to the fireplace, there is a person bundled up in heavy blankets, and it seems to be wearing a heavy veil across their face. You can't seem to discern the gender. Yeah, so but a sort of weak, sort of wheezing voice sort of beckons you come. Said, "Come in, please. Help yourselves to wine and seat yourselves. Um, please come." Thank you, Vajra. Thank you. Vajra sort of
Heist.
nods, and in a moment she's gone.
Does the voice ring the bell?
The voice doesn't ring a bell. It's not a voice that you would have heard. But it is. I mean, I would maybe make a history check for you to try to remember, but this would be more of a medicine check. This is somebody who's having a hard time breathing, a hard time, almost sort of heavy asthma or something along those lines.
Do you want me to do a medicine check? I can do.
There's not really any need for it. You can't really see her face because she's in the cloak and sort of this hood in front. Please, please come.
I'll step forward, serve the different goblets with wine, and then take a seat.
You notice that there are 4 goblets, one for each of you. As the person says, please, please sit where I can see you. There are 4, well, the 4 chairs sort of arranged around the fire. Vroon, you go to the.
I will stand behind the chair because it's like, yeah, I'm not going to fit in that.
Okay.
I'll sit down.
There's maybe a sort of a chuckle, sort of a raspy chuckle coming from the person. My name is Sindra Sylvain. I was an adventurer years ago, and on one of those occasions, I was killed and raised back to the living by one of my companions. And while I have not led the adventurer's life in quite a few years, it seems that it's caught up with me. You've been told of what they're calling the death curse, yes?
Yes, we have.
We have.
As you can see, I've been struck down with it as well, which is why when Vajra came to me, I offered my help. It's the Harpers have helped in identifying some part of the cause of this soulmonger named Chult, somewhere in Chult. Chult is a widely unexplored, or at least unmapped, part of the continent. I believe you are from there, are you not? Vroondomon, is it?
Yes, I am.
I talked to your partner, colleague, Obaya. She has helped me understand quite a bit about life there. I was never. I meant to go visit again, but I only know Port Nyanzaru. For the others who might not know it as well, Chult is a peninsula ringed with mountains and choked with rainforests, enormous reptiles, savage goblins, and
I'm familiar with the reptiles.
naturally an army of undead prowl its jungles and ruins. Mapping the place has always been nigh impossible, and nothing is really known about the region's current geography beyond a few miles from the coast. She sort of there's a moment towards Runa's. There's an attention as to maybe you know better, but you know, this is kind of the colonial talking about Africa, saying, "Oh, the unknown of Africa," and you're going, "Yeah, I used to live there."
Mm-hmm.
Working from dozens of sea charts, logbooks, and explorers' journals, I assembled everything known about the current state of Chult onto one map. If you, of course, accept to go, I will be happy to provide it.
I think it would be wise to take it, but well, Vroon, I suspect you wanna go?
Yes.
Heinrich?
Well, let's go. If we can help people.
Sorsha?
I'm quite puzzled about the whole thing, but since my family won't disapprove of, I believe, why not? Let's take a bit of adventuring.
You do not have to worry as much for persecution in Job's Sorsha. Generally, the bigger problem there are were tigers, other such things.
All right. I'll be sure to keep that in mind.
Oh god, my mom is not gonna like this. Oh god. Oh no. Well, good. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah.
Good. Well,
I'm a bit worried though about the language barrier. If we are to investigate and only Rune understands
Don't
what it
worry, most people will speak common, at least in Port Nyanzaru. It was an Amnish. Amnish? I guess, yes. I was just like, wait, is that the way? Is that correct way? Amnish? Yes. Anyway, it was an Amnish. Amnian, and it was it was a colony of Amn after all.
Heinrich raised his hand. Well, I have a spell to comprehend languages also, so
Yeah, but
should be okay.
if you can provide with a guide, maybe you can provide with a teacher for the language, because I would prefer to understand people.
We'll see there if we can find.
there are many opportunities to be found in Port Nyanzaru. I will be moving us there when you are ready. Please gather any belongings or preparations that you might need, um, and come back to me. Do not tardy, as you could understand. Well, things are dire for many people. Mm.
I was hoping to travel home sometime soon anyway, so I will not take long to pack.
So
Let's get our stuff.
I guess we're not
I
going.
assume that Heinrich and Sorsha at least will want to say their goodbyes to some friends and family.
I need to warn my family that I'm going, but they'll be busy with some new custom orders that will be coming their way. So that's already good news for them. But I'm happy to see you have been talking a lot about Schultz. So somewhere I was curious one day when I would see it finally. So now I would be happy to see where you come from, Rune.
There's like a, where did it come from? Sure. Yes, that's where I come from.
Uh, what of clothing do we actually need? Because is it like what's the weather now over there? Because like
The weather does not change. Well,
what
I mean, it will
Yeah.
rain. It will be dry times, but the temperature does not change. It will be warm.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind while I'm packing
But
my clothes.
a common mistake for people from outside is that because it is warm, they do not cover their bodies. You should dress lightly but cover.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Sure.
Gale, who is beside the fire, but she actually went out without her cape or anything to cover herself, just with her armor. Looks at you guys and say, "Well, let's go home and pack our stuff." And Vroon, I think you're going to advise us on what to grab and what to leave home.
A cloak against the rain is fine. A cloak with fur, leave it behind.
And it rhymes. Very good.
Actually, if one day I was told that I would ask Rune for advice about what
Fashion advice from an elephant man.
Fair enough.
Well, a new thing every day, a new thing every day.
As you are talking, the servant, a seems to be maybe half elf, about difficult to age, sort of middle aged half elf. Um, Sort of nods towards you and sort of ushers you towards the bottom floor and out into the street. You find yourselves. Let's see. Where would you find yourselves? Um, yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the map. You will find yourselves right in the shadow of the Hawkman. So right about here.
Okay.
And I'm guessing, Vroon, you quickly summon Kumari and you head yourself up towards Charles Skull Manor.
We could carry stuff. Actually, we have a portable
if
hole
we
and
don't have with us.
bag of holding. We're fine with carrying.
Oh yes.
So yes, now comes the big question, which is what do you take, what do you leave behind, what do you keep in your bag of holding, and all of that. Actually, one question that I might have. I know that most of the equipment that you have is adventure. There's a lot of things that you have that are not adventuring equipment, but that's not on your character sheet, right? Um, I don't think that Heinrich's favorite spoon happens to be in his adventurer's kit. But
Yes, it is.
Or your favorite cap.
or your favorite cup, yeah. However, what is interesting is how much money do you take with you? Because you still have a substantial amount of money left over from the massive reward that you received from Waterdeep.
I am pretty sure we're going to take, since everything is in a bank anyways, take, how do you call it in English?
Bonds.
Yeah, the bonds and
That not might not just work. That might not work. You are leaving the continent. You are not necessarily a bond. Maybe could work in Port Saru, but you're not sure. I mean, it's um,
Might
Well,
want to make
no,
some withdrawals.
it's definitely not going to be valid in the jungle. I can tell you that.
Rune,
Hmm.
for the finances that you have been arranging, how much do I have for the moment?
Let me
Rune is your
see.
accountant.
Well, he's doing a very good job, and
Oh, by the way, Rune, you can also add to the because I did the next two rolls because you're missing two rolls for the tavern. The first roll was 89 gold, and the second one was 132 gold.
Income?
Income.
89 and 132.
I have an idea. Would you allow me on our way back to stop at a jewel store?
I know where you're
Jewelry.
going with this, and I completely agree with you. Yes.
And I would like to spend my money basically on maybe a collar with various gemstones. Probably something long that can be under my shirt,
Yeah.
so I can resell the gems.
Yeah,
Will.
not a problem.
So in question to your, in answer to your question, Heinrich, you have about 1,000 gold left from your reward.
I will probably buy. I will probably buy 6 healing potions, normal ones, if they're available or not.
Considering that you are kind of under a time restraint, make me make me an
With
investigation roll.
Empty merce stocks.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is that a lot of people have been trying to get healing potions recently.
Yeah.
yeah.
From Waterdeep, I know where to go.
Yes.
With a shell.
You
Well, I
will
mean,
be able to buy them in Portnianzaro as well,
so you can
but
find yes. So you can find
similar issues.
you will be able to find 6 potions for yeah, let's say 40. So that would be well, you do the math.
Let's see, math. Do, 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 for 240 gold.
Mhm.
Well, I'll take it, and I'll
So
take.
these would be out of your parents' personal stash.
Yes.
So this would be from the academy stash.
Okay, and I will take because I don't know what's happening, and you probably see Heinrich stressing a lot, and he will take probably 450 gold also extra, just in his pocket in the bag of holding. Like, okay, we never know.
So anything. So how many bags of holding do you have? Do you folks have?
One.
You have only one.
One bag of
And
holding
and
and one portable hole.
Okay. So what I would
and
like you to
and one elephant man.
so, but yes, but what I would like you to do is on the spreadsheet that you have at your that you have available, to
Mhm.
have a specific list for what's in the bag of holding.
I
Anything
put
that
one thing in.
Hmm?
I put one thing in already.
Okay, good. So same thing for the portable hole. That way we can track what is where. So if you put any monies in the bag of holding, it will be in that list. Anything else is going to be on your personal persons. So Sorsha, what you can do is,
Yeah.
which I would recommend to all of you, is have a instead of have gold. No, okay. I'll just. I was about to say
Platinum instead.
have have an entry called gems and put in that amount of gold into it.
Okay.
But yeah, then it becomes difficulty for silver and copper. So don't worry about it.
What I was thinking is, do we all do it like Heinrich, who asked how much do we each have left, or do we take the whole the whole amount that's left over, and do we leave something behind for the person who's gonna manage the tavern while we're away?
That was the idea that I had also.
We had a bit of money for that, I
Yeah.
believe.
The tavern also had a share.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I think we still had 2,500 left for the tavern or something like that. So
yeah.
Do you think that the tavern will need the whole 2,500?
Right. Let me double check, because we did, of course, then also give 10,000 to a Lord of Waterdeep.
Not one of the hidden lords, right?
Maybe. Allegedly. Perhaps. You are unsure.
Yes, we did.
Yes, kids. Learn bookkeeping. You're gonna use it when you'll play Dungeons and Dragons. Anyways, that whole bookkeeping, by the way, let's keep it for maybe
Between
between
Yeah.
sessions.
Yeah.
We can do. I just need to make sure that are we taking all of our money with us? I just want to know how much money the orphans at and the pickpockets in Port Nyanzara are gonna make out of you guys. So it's like
Oh, by the way, guys, I would open the portable hole on the ground of the tavern and just say, just chug all your sleeping bags and everything that is camping related immediately in the portable hole.
Yeah,
Okay.
just tents, because I don't want to sleep just on the floor.
Do we have tents?
We can buy those.
you can buy
I
it.
don't
We
Again,
should maybe buy them in Port Nyanzaru. They
again,
will have better tents there, fit for the weather.
I have a spell for that if you want, guys.
Hey,
Heinrich, I have a
There's
spell
an app for that.
Thunderstaff.
Uh, well, let's say that an old friend Leomant had learned me how to make a tiny hut that will keep
but
it nice and comfortable.
if you're out of energy,
It's a ritual spell.
tents.
So I would do very fine with the ritual spell. So at least that's a spell that I learned.
Oh, it's a ritual. Very
Yes.
nice.
So the question is, do we take some tents in case of
We
Yes.
should.
a no magic situation? Because it's not that you don't have magic anymore, Heinrich. But if we have a situation where magic is not recommended for one reason or another, hey, they're not gonna weigh anything if they're in the portable hole.
It's true.
I
And
would say go ahead.
take ropes.
Ropes.
Yes.
You want ropes.
Yeah, I want
I
ropes.
agree on that. It's a sailor speaking. Of course you want a rope.
And as a musician, yes, ropes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll prefer to not put my rope in a portable hole. It takes too long to extract from it.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. The ropes you keep on yourself.
Okay. Are there any?
All this pushing and pulling of rope.
So, if you have any shopping to do, um, we can certainly. Yep.
Two things. A book about the language and see if Fada has some stuff for us because she knows plants. I believe there's plants, a lot of plants in Schultz, so maybe a piece of advice.
Maybe.
I'll probably be at my parents' place getting the healing potions and slowly trying to explain that I will be gone for a long while in another country, helping people with the death curse and
They
at the
asked to stay discreet about that one.
yeah, explain that, and before my mother is going to react in her charming way.
Make a persuasion roll just to see how that goes through.
Don't
Oh,
worry, Emma. I'll just go save the world.
oh, this is gonna be funny.
Dirty
Okay.
20.
Um.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. I think that probably I mean, your father is very proud. Of course, he's like, my boy finally going on an adventure. We've been wanting. Your mother is. They've received the news and they received the order, and so she's halfway worried about her son, distracted by the work that's about being done and the logistics that are going to be needing to, well, to wrangle all these trolls and to create all of these, because troll blood is one thing, but you're going to need a lot of specific materials as well to make those rings. And she's she's already, you can see that she's distracted by this thing, by this huge undertaking, and the logistics of it, which is distracting her from the realization that her boy is going to a far off place to maybe get killed in very bad ways. Um, so your father's mostly the one taking the brunt of it and confronting and saying how proud he is of what you guys are doing, and he's pretty sure that you'll be fine. Um, but at some point, he does sort of comes down to your ear and says, "You do have the sending spell, yes? Message?
Yes, I do.
Then use it, boy.
I will.
Regularly. If you don't want your mother coming after you, and you don't,
Maybe that can turn
send
into
her
something.
send her updates regularly.
It,
Mama.
where's my sister, by the way?
Mm. And she's with.
I read a little paper explaining the situation, and the last sentence will be, I know I couldn't say goodbye, but when I will come back, I will tell you the new adventures from your little brother Heinrich. And I roll the paper and I give it to father. Can you give it to her? I think she, well, you know her.
I do, and yes, this is maybe the best way. Stay safe. You are a bright lad, and your friends have their strengths. Rely on them, and as they will most likely rely on you. You're going to learn a lot of things in the next couple of, well, whatever time period this takes. Remember one thing: whatever doesn't kill you will probably scar you for life.
He looks a bit gloomy, gives
No,
a very
there's a sort of a corner, sort of a smirk on his face as he says that, and you can feel the weight, the pressure of his prosthetic hand, sort of pressing down on your shoulder. But the behind the smirk, you know him well enough. Behind the smirk, behind the kind of jovial, he's trying to make light of the situation, but he's of course incredibly nervous.
I'll give him a hug. What normally he doesn't do, but he'll give a very long hug. He just one question. Do you have your old adventurer's code that you used to use?
Hmm. Yeah. Let's see if that
Can,
fits you.
can you? I would like to have it as a good luck charm
Yeah.
before I go.
Let's see if it fits you. Um, would that be any specific item in your
No, just
just the coat. Okay.
Just the code, the specifications of rune, like looking for a code that he
Yeah.
says like this is important, and then I'll say like it's a good luck charm, you know.
Yeah. Yes, I will not say that it is the actual cloak of protection that you're wearing because that would be just no. But yeah, his old sort of adventure. Yeah, you can see it's a sort of a military sort of military coat. It's crimson lined with silver,
Hmm.
and you can see that it is something that has been, while it has been kept in fairly good condition, you sort of realize that the condition is sort of it's been mended on
Yeah.
quite a few occasions by magical means. This is a coat that even on the underside, as you just sort of pull your nose to it, you can still there's the scent of your father, but there's also a bit of sort of burning or sort of that arcane sort of
Okay.
alkaline smell to it, as
Okay.
in this coat has seen some stuff.
I'll put it on and I'll go away to my friends.
Um, you spend I mean, you haven't been told to rush back. You have another night, and there are some things that you need to get ready that'll only be ready in the morning. The healing potions, for example. So you have one last night before you leave in Charles Skull Manor, in Charles Skull Alley. What do you want to do with it?
Vroon is definitely going to talk to Jalester Silvermane and tell him, like, well, I'll be returning home. Is there anything I should relay to the princess?
Well, if Obaya hasn't arrived yet, though, she might have. Well, all the paperwork is with her, isn't it?
Hmm. Most of
She'll
it,
do it.
yes.
Don't worry about that. Um, Besides, from what I hear, news has arrived already over there. The um, the Flaming Fist has been ordered out of Port Nianzaru,
Hmm.
according to
Well,
my sources. Hmm. Be
I'll be
careful,
able
though.
to.
The other sharks have moved in. Well, Port Nianzaru is a treasure trove to those who can, well, navigate those waters and those currents. Everybody's leaving. What's going on here?
Just
I'm getting your tea.
Oh, thank you.
Where's everyone else?
Everybody's bringing me tea.
Yeah.
Mm. So you know, mind your well, you're a local, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. But no, I've been hearing rumors that a lot of well, Zentarim have been taking up place in Port Nianzaru, looking for new opportunities. Now that's quite a few doors have slammed into their face on this corner of the world.
Well, at least it will be slightly less state sanctioned.
True. It's going to
So,
take
like,
a while before the Lord's Alliance really takes a hold in Chult. You understand that, right? And I mean, the papers that Obaya is bringing to your princes was that just the first step. But it's a good one.
yes. Very well.
I'm While I'm happy that you're going home, I'm kind of sad to see you leave. He sort of places his hand on your shoulder and says, "Good luck." Yeah, no, I'm guessing that this is seated at the table, and he has to do this.
Thank you.
Probably not on the shoulder, maybe sort of somewhere around the sort of around the.
So I am not sad to. I am not sad to see the weather of this place behind me. I have come to care for some of the people in it.
Oh, yeah. You've been complaining about this. Let me tell you about a winter. This was 14 years ago, and that story sort of goes on.
Yeah.
Gale, is there anything you wish to do on the eve of your departure?
Gil is probably going to go down to the docks. Explaining that she has to go and leaving the docks and the whole community in the care of the different people she trusts on there to continue their job.
It's not unexpected. As a priest of Valkyr, you are expected to move around, to come in with the tide and to leave with the tide. The fact that you stayed here for as long as you did was making you somewhat of a odd entity with regards to that. So while some people are, I won't say sad to see you go, but they're definitely going, yeah, that's a sailor's lot. As in, you stay inshore, but you're called away. Not a lot of people realize what actually is going on, but you are expected to leave, and you are expected to come back.
I'll probably end up drinking a beer in every tavern along the docks.
Fair enough. So, make me a Constitution saving throw.
Hey, Gil knows how to drink. She knows how to drink smartly.
That's why I'm not putting you at disadvantage.
Oh.
That is a 21. Nice. So yes, you will not be leaving with T'Chult with a hangover.
That the secret is a glass of water after every glass of alcohol.
I'll be taking notes for that.
Yeah.
It's especially easy when you can create or destroy water.
Yeah. I wonder, does create and destroy water apply to whiskey? Could you sort of destroy water as you're chugging the?
However, I don't even need the spell since I do have a decanter for that.
That is true. Yes, that is true. Which you've been using to bless, I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably.
And to sober up.
And to sober up. Nothing better than a good dousing with a geyser from the decanter when someone is a bit too rowdy.
Sorsha.
I'll probably close the tavern for the night. And drag Caleb probably along the way of Gale. Drag Caleb to the dock and let him meet the dragon.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'll ask for a barge, and with somewhat of a bit of sadness, of apprehension, I'll sing one more time the dragon song.
I can see the image as we fade in from the different stories, as in we can see Gale sort of matching drinks with a heavy sailor, and as we pan back, we sort of move outside from the window from the tavern, and there we see wrapped in cloaks, we see the duo of Sorsha and Caleb talking probably with what's her name? She would be making a cameo appearance. Um, your half orc friend.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yes.
This would be.
What you did.
Oh, goddamn.
Ah, Celis.
Yeah.
Celis Haruk. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. There's a moment where Celis sort of course, agrees. There's probably as you introduced one to another, um, sort of Caleb sort of nodding, and yeah, she takes you out onto the boat.
Question is,
The thing is,
would you have warned us and taken all of us with you, or would you have warned anyone of the team you were going to see the dragon?
Oh, yes.
Okay, because then I'll probably be along.
I
Oh well, there
won't be
goes my
there.
transition scene. Thanks.
Well, I
Sorry.
I won't be there because I'll be alone in my room in the bar because we'll do something else. Meanwhile, you guys are busy.
Okay.
Meanwhile, masturbating.
This is a kids show. Oh, there you go.
No, it is not.
All right.
However, GM,
Wait.
I have a last question.
Sure.
That is, at what hour were we summoned, and what time of the evening is it?
You were summoned around midday, mid bell. I'd mentioned.
Okay,
Oh,
so it's not especially late in the evening yet.
No, but I mean, you've been doing a lot of things. You've been either buying tents or going
Yeah.
around. And the sun drops
No,
fairly quickly in winter.
yeah.
So
It's only because I think Gil would round up her afternoon with the dock wards, and with the dogs, and then go back to the tavern and suggest to everyone that we would have a last supper together with a few of the neighbors.
mhm. um, yeah, so you would do dragon docks
Dogs.
dinner.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'll be waiting
Sorsha,
at
yes.
home.
So back to you. So you are currently accompanied by Caleb and Gale, as Celis sort of brings you out to, which has now become the knowledge, the known spot for the dragon. The dragon seems to have made his way just south of Mistshore. I'll go back to the map to put you back to the map on the Waterdeep. Yep. So he seems to have set himself up, not within the naval harbor, but pretty much around here. Um, so just south of the dock, Snell Street and Dock Street. And it has now become, yeah, there's a nickname there's sort of a nickname about that area that becoming the dragon's chorus or the dragon's court, according to who you're talking to. But yes, the I'm not going to have you roll that die again because we all know what it's going to be. It's going to be in 28 minimum. Um, but yes, the song resonates, this is it's an eerie sight because you are um, sort of covered in this heavy cloak. It is there's a wind coming in from the coast. It's sort of blowing snow into your face, and this perpetual sort of mist that seems to be covering the area where the dragon has set himself. Um, it's you're not yeah, it's very, very peculiar. The sound is muffled by the wind and by the fog. And so as you start singing, the there's this sort of almost of like a cocoon that sort of envelops you and hides you away from the world as the shadow and familiar shape of your young dragon friend emerges from the water. Ah, I had not expected you so soon.
Well, something unexpected happened. So I've come to say goodbye for now.
Mm, mm, mm.
There's a disease spreading across the coast, maybe further even. A
Yes,
disease,
powerful
yes.
magic.
So it seems. And we are sent to try to contain it or eradicate it.
Good, good, good choice.
I'm glad you approve.
Well, of course.
But we won't be seeing each other for a while since we're going to Chult.
Mm. You said that the blinking of the eyes that you realize that is sort of his tell when he's sort of thinking about sort of wrecking his memory, and he says, "Not a place I'm familiar. Maybe I should go one day." Oh, well, after Waterdeep. When you come back, tell me all about it, and you will bring me tribute.
Yes, I'll bring you something nice.
Yes,
Dear
yes,
friend,
nice, nice tribute. Yes,
Oh God.
of course I will have been keeping guard in the great harbor.
I'm sure you'll do magnificently.
Well, of course, I am a
And
dragon.
maybe when I come back, I'll ask for your help to help someone dear to me underneath the city. Maybe by then you'll have grown even stronger and magnificent.
There's a there's not a lot of sunlight. The only light that seems to be shining is from either Sorsha's, no, not Sorsha's, would be from Gale's trident or the small lantern. But the way he turns is just enough for you to realize he knows, and he's shining, and there's that the scales all across the sail of the small vessel um, sort of reflect that's what he said. Of course, he's magnificent.
He knows his light. I taught him well, my baby.
I mean, seriously. In any other campaign, the bard seduces the dragon. This is the first time I see the bard adopt one. Um, let's see, what was his name again?
He's a bit too young and too naive for the other option.
Um,
Yeah.
oh, of course, he's not in here. I'm looking at the wrong Of course, if I'm looking for the name of an NPC in the wrong module.
Wrong campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong campaign.
Okay, so let's hide this away.
That came to introduce you. A dear member of my family, meet Caleb. And Caleb meets my latest friend.
There's a moment where the two sort of stare at each other. And Caleb, let's I'm gonna roll for this. Okay. Despite anything that you've told him about the dragon, about the whole thing, this is something where he is. I guess he's been a bit overwhelmed today. And the fact that, okay, Vajra calling him by name, the whole thing with potentially taking, sort of serving the city of Waterdeep as professional body doubles, meeting a dragon. There's that moment where he's going, you can see in his mind going, nope, nope, nope. And there's just that moment where he sort of acknowledges, okay, yes, well, right, and sort of looks at you going, what do I do? Yes, hello, bows, or whatever. There's a moment where he's going, okay, yes, we've done this. Can we go home now?
Don't be like that. I wanted to introduce you to each other because I love you both very much. And I want to know when I'm not here that you can count on each other.
Oh, that is.
Aww.
The two of them look at you going with both as in yeah, I think there's it's difficult to read on a dragon's face because it's maybe not as expressive as humans or humanoids. Caleb, there's a moment of sort of sheer almost horror at the idea of what I have to deal with him. As in, I don't have enough trouble on my plate. You're giving me him. Yeah, there's definitely a moment with Caleb going. No, anyways, that'll happen later. The interaction is sort of a bit. There's a bit of awkwardness, but a few words and promise to meet up again. Let's put it that way.
You've got a grinning Gale in the background.
Well, yeah, if you
And
want.
at one point, I decide that Caleb has had enough misery for one day. You know, I take over. I greet the dragon, explain that we'll all be leaving, and then I'll be sure to come and give him all the details of our strategies about taking care of that problem.
As he sort of turns towards you, he sort of acknowledges, ah, yes, um, Gale, was it Mist Scale? Yes, though. Yes, I've heard now the name and the exploits, the adventures. Celis comes here and reads to me. Celis sort of sheepishly going, sort of almost going, I did not mean for you to find out that. And has very much said, yes, well, he wanted news from the, yeah. It's basically Dragon wanted the news from the city, and she's been bringing in the tabloids. And the dragon sort of looks at you, and you have again with your mist armor, and he says,
Yeah.
"Not enough scale to justify. No. Why didn't they call you Mist Cloak? Much better name. I shall call you Mist Cloak."
I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be Mist Shield.
Wow. Missed opportunity. And he looks towards Celis, and Celis is sort of hiding behind it and goes, and he sort of looks at it and sort of nods, and again sort of raises that neck up, sort of very proud of what he's just done.
And I poke Caleb and I say, you know why I like him?
Caleb's shock and horror just goes, and realizing, oh, another kid.
That's probably the point where Gil loses it. It just goes through. It just cracks in laughing and.
I love the fact that you froze just at that moment. There's definitely a moment. Yeah, and Caleb turns and looks at you, and I mean, let's face it, with the look that he's throwing at you, that's a sneak attack damage right there. It's daggers.
Well, if he looks at Gil,
My
he
love.
knows she's laughing at him. She's just finding the whole situation hilariously funny.
Caleb has his pride. Anyways, as the interaction sort of fades, dragon sinks back into to the bottom of the harbor, and you head back. Caleb is very much sort of in shock for a moment. He's trying to figure out what just happened. Says,
yeah, when we part with Gale, take a while to discuss with him.
okay. Yeah, as you get to the docks, Gale, you hop off, start making your rounds, as mentioned previously, and Sorsha and Caleb, you head back up north towards Chelskull Alley. For a moment, Caleb is silent, sort of pondering. You know that this is not necessarily there are gears turning in his mind as to while he's not the most scheming of the troop, he has sort of a strategist's mind, and at some point he's sort of lost in thought and sort of shakes himself out of it and says, "Well, little one, it's quite the situation you put us in. No, sorry, it's quite the situation that we are put in."
For once, it's not my fault.
No, well, that is debatable. Not directly, indirectly at most. No, certainly indirectly. I don't think this Blackstaff person would have ever noticed our presence if, well, she hadn't noticed you. But if that means that we can have our place officially, well, at least with the higher ups, and that the family is protected by Waterdeep itself, well, that's good. We don't need to hide from the hidden lords, just the ones below.
Yes, a bit more protection is always nice. Do you have a way to keep in touch?
No, not in our means. Ask your wizard friend. You should be able to communicate.
So,
Though, with what that the Blackstaff is going to have us do, we're going to be busy.
and that's the first time we'll be separated.
Not the first time. Maybe the longest, yes. At least, well, He sort of again stops. Stops sort of in the middle, sort of middle of the street to look at you, and he says, "Your mother knew that you were destined for great things, and this is good. This is good. You you grow in influence, in power. Soon you won't be needing us, and who knows? Maybe after this is done, and that you no longer need us to protect you, as you have your new companions, maybe we can slip back into anonymity ourselves. Waterdeep is becoming too much of a regular thing. This shell is taking too much importance."
That's the first time you talk so much about my mother. But yes, maybe one day it's me who will be having your back.
Well, I'll keep a bottle in the back for when you do.
Be sure of it.
Something dark, I think. Hmm. And as you said, oh, by the way, as we're talking about that, I've had a problem with this, with the guild brewer. He's been overcharging again. Who do you think? And the conversation turns to the mundane of the work of the tavern as you move up forward. As the, I think that's probably the last sort of shot of the evening. Oh no, sorry. Um, I'd forgotten one thing. As you move up one by one towards the tavern. Oh yeah, Heinrich, you had something to say?
Um, I'm actually going to try a new spell actually,
Okay.
alone in my room.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone is gone doing their business.
Yes.
I'm actually going to prepare a nice warm drink. I'm gonna take my gilded flower.
Oh.
I'm gonna think about all the things that my dear friend taught me, and I'm gonna whisper, "Okay, let's have a talk with a new friend." And I'm gonna cast Summon Fae.
Okay. The as you bring out the gilded flower, um, and you start tracing in the air, there's a floor from almost as the flower seems to, it doesn't glow with light, but it glows with smell and a floral. It's actually a sort of a floral pattern that you sort of draw into the air, almost like drifting smoke. And through, but not smoke. It's lighter than that. It's mist, sort of almost. But it has the smell is ever changing, from insects to floral, back to spices and of such. And there's a moment where you cough, as the smell takes you to the eyes, to the nose, and to the back of the throat. But as you cough and you reopen, sitting in the couch in front of you is a, well, could you maybe share it in the visual aids?
Oh yes. Wait, I need to find the picture again. Uh, uh, wait. My apologies.
Where
I
did you send it to me?
I think I sent it in private. I think. Right, up. Yes,
Okay.
we're gonna do that. And to player notes, and there you go.
Oh.
So a greenish figure appears in front of you. Her the couch is completely covered by this thick mane of whitish hair that sort of flows over the couch. She's playing with a what seems to be a large gem of some sort, as sort of playing around with the light, almost sort of you've seen that maybe in the people I mean, think Jared, the Goblin King in Labyrinth. You know, so playing with that sphere. Instead of being a crystal orb, it's a faceted thing, almost like Arkenstone
Yeah.
kind of gem, a deep emerald or maybe jade. I'm not exactly sure. As she turns towards you, there's a moment where there's a mm, as she turns towards you, looks at you, and for a brief second, underneath the beauty and the glamour of this sort of nymph-like creature, you feel the sharpness. There's a dagger-like quality to the edges in her smile, in her eyes. You, as she moves about, you can just hear the movement hidden under her robes of claws sort of scraping on the wood of the floor. There's what you see, there's what you perceive, and then there's something else even deeper behind it.
Mm.
And while her appearance might be pleasing to the eye, there is a deep instinct within you that realizes you have in front of you a predator, and you are very much a prey in this instance. But you are protected, and that's when you realize the role of your focus for this spell, which is this is a pact, this is protection. As she looks upon you, looks to the flower, and says, "Ah, well, it's been a while since I've. Oh, oh, I smell him on you. The colorless one, yes. Has he been doing things that he shouldn't? No. No. No, 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 no. I sense his smell, his touch upon you. Oh, it goes deeper. Yes. He's more than just an acquaintance, isn't he? No, don't answer. That is not what I'm here. Besides, you are here. I'm here. To serve you? Maybe, maybe not. No, not myself. That is not in your power, not yet. No. You want me as the broker? Yes.
You just see a big smile.
You want my children, you want my allies, you want my help. I can do so. And what would a young mind like yours enjoy then? Pleasures, pain, both. Inflicted upon others or yourself?
Inflicted upon other ones.
Oh, child.
Maybe he hesitates for a while. Maybe on occasions we can find an arrangement for the other ones.
Ah, yes. There are some promises there. No matter, child. The spell is quite precise. A spirit in your care? Another one, from what I understand. Though, and as she turns her, and as she turns her hand, the gem is she has the gem in sort of one hand, and she's placed her arms dressed on the rest of the couch, and you can see that Nugget is on the edge of the couch, standing there, almost sort of petrified, as in he doesn't. He was not in the room. You had not summoned him, by the way.
Oh
All of a
shit.
sudden, the Nugget is there on the edge of, and she just sort of has it sort of lazily placed her hand, and she turns it and sort of beckons. And Nugget, there's a moment of hesitation, and then there's that sort of jump forward onto the green lady's hand. And as as he as she holds him in his hand, he says, "Yes, well, this one says a lot about you. Good things, I assure you. Good, good, good. So another spirit then. Hmm." And as she raises her arms, and Nugget's gone, and then reappears on her shoulder, and then will sort of jumps into this mane of hair. And on occasion, you'll see his face sort of pop up, and you're not exactly sure if it's playfulness or him trying to get out. There's always that sort of, you're unsure about how things are happening. And he says, and she continues, a spirit to be molded by your wish and imagination. 3 choices. A spirit of air, water, or soil. Those are the contracts of the spell, are they not?
Mm-hmm.
Every time choose wisely. Do not mistreat my pets. They are part of me, and you would not want to disrespect me, mistreat me. Would you now?
Of course not.
Good.
Very big smile.
You are about to face many terrors, my young friend.
Yes.
Who knows? Some of them might be me. You blink, as you chuckle, you blink, and she's gone.
I'm chugging my bottle of wine. Like, holy shit, it actually worked. Nugget, it worked.
As you call for him, it takes one try. I mean, you expect him. Okay, Nugget, yeah, and you expect him to be there. Call him a second time. Call him a third time. That's when he appears. And as he appears, there's still that lingering, peppery sort of. This would be very peppermint kind of sort of very very strong, a very coldish sort of scent attached to him, and you can see that he is. There's still a bit of maybe lingering moss within his fur, sort of very sort of fresh spring vegetation about him, sort of matted into the fur, and you see that he's sort of starts grooming himself, cleaning. Something that you've never seen him do. Because usually he as a magical being, if he's dirty, he just reappears.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but there's an urgency that seems a bit strange.
I take him up. I'll help him clean.
Mhm.
Like, well, buddy, you won't see her for many times, but we need to protect ourselves. And I think this is the best way. So let's go on an adventure, Nugget. And I take him in my arms and I'll go read with Nugget on my shoulder.
Oh, sorry. I had misread that was the yeah. So was it Ferning, Mirthful, or Trixie? Are the three types that you could have chosen?
Okay.
Yeah, the beast of the air. That's summon beast. That's something different.
Oh, okay.
So yes. So this would not be a sing. Yes, she's very much a broker, as in she will be sending, according to what you ask for, she will be sending her soldiers, she will be sending her agents, she will be sending um, Faye to your side.
Perfect.
So, oh yeah, summon fairies. That's okay. Yes. So that done. It's a well. You know what? Make me a Constitution saving throw for the wine.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a fairly mirthful.
How wasted are you?
He rolled a 15, so it's okay. But that was that nat one. I was really tempted to get. So it's a fairly mirthful Heinrich that sort of barges in, bottle and half-empty bottle of wine in his hand, and that sort of when he bursts into the tavern and the tap room. Um, by this time, all of you have rejoined inside. Um, and Gale, I believe you had plans for one not necessarily final, but one reunion with all the guests and your friends from the neighborhood.
I suggested, while Vroon is probably preparing dinner,
Mhm.
I make the suggestion to everyone.
The suggestion is, I'm guessing, a welcome one for everyone.
Yeah, say goodbye.
How, I mean, any any reasoning for a hot meal, especially with those spices, is welcome from everyone. I mean, even Vincent accepts the invitation and sort of shows up, which you've never really managed to get him on one of these occasions, but he comes in.
He probably knows.
Oh, he knows. There's a moment where you realize he knows. You have no idea how he knows, but he knows.
That's its job.
Hmm.
So, well,
I think he probably has, as he steps in, he probably has a strange look. There's a probably strange look and sniff around Heinrich. He's like, hmm, hmm, hmm. Um, so Tally is alone as his bell is currently up in
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. Embrick and Avi are their enthusiastic selves, even if Embrick is definitely a bit more miserable than usual as he's not taking to the weather very well. Avi doesn't seem to mind, especially with the humidity.
We'll just stuff Embrick with Vroon next to
Yes,
each
exactly.
enemy.
This weather, right? Oh,
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. Yeah. So how much do you tell them? How much do you keep away from them?
Well, we have been asked to stay discreet, so I I would probably say something along the lines of we have been sent on a mission and it happens to be on Vroon's um, home turf, so that's why they chose us, and so we're going to Chult.
Um. So, but yeah, but you're trying to keep the serious stuff on the down low.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody, group, deception. Group deception check.
All right.
Let's go.
Well, everything's fine.
Ooh.
Uh,
God damn it.
So for Gale and Vroon,
Could I
wait,
keep the
wait,
15?
Oh no, you're that number.
wait. For Vroon and Gale, I'll use one of my abilities.
I am going to deny you the chronal shift
Ah, come on.
because it is not a single action. It is really over the
The entire evening.
entire evening.
Ah,
It's
damn it.
mostly about micro expressions. It's about um, the general attitude and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sorsha doesn't seem bothered by anything, but then again, she's almost too good.
like, can I remark it because it's my job, right? And kind of appease things like,
Yeah, it's
yeah, job king, yeah, Rune,
yeah, but
always exaggerating.
it's less about what they're saying and more about what they're not saying. There's a moment where I think probably most likely
Like,
Avi.
what are you gonna do? Well, you know,
Save the
It's not. It's not
world.
about no. The whole secret thing is that okay, yeah, you don't want to tell us, no problem. Just and there's just a moment that yeah, probably a moment where yeah, this is probably the moment when yeah you say Embrick says so what do you be going there? I said what are you doing? And then you're saying oh stuff, don't worry about it. Well, and Embrick and Avi sort of turns and says don't worry. I mean they'll tell us when they'll be back. They'll be back soon enough to tell it and tell everything about it. Tell us everything about it. And that's when there's a lull in the conversation. That moment where nobody wants and that's when it hits everyone that this is not that this is probably a goodbye and this is probably a final goodbye. And you can see Embrick and Navi this realization sort of hitting them as they end. You can see that there's the most maybe I would say maybe Embrick sort of takes his husband's hand and sort of there's a squeeze there. Fala in their corner sort of nods, realizing realizing the situation. Vincent stone faced, of course, as usual. Tali a bit well, not exactly noticing, but noticing that well, he's the less um, aware of the bunch, but definitely realizing, okay, what's going on here? Raishal was sort of looking about and looking, and it's actually Raishal sort of looking about this calm, and and he sort of there's a moment where he sort of bangs his hand and said, "Well, anyways, well, this may be a goodbye. Wow, let's make it a good one then. Hmm?
Here.
Good. In my years, I've seen many adventurers go, and while some came back, others did not. That is part of the life. Yes. Just make sure for one thing. You bring back the diaries. I want to read of your adventures. Make them into legend.
Sure, Volo will be more than happy to write about them.
Ha! That hack.
Don't worry about the story. I know how to tell them.
Good. So, and he sort of points to the three of you. So, make sure this one comes back to tell your stories.
I'll keep a logbook if I
Yes.
must.
Heinrich,
Yes.
if you die there, you give this one your research. I want to continue that.
No.
What? No.
It's
Don't say no to
mine.
your betters. No.
No.
What you are studying is too important to let go to the chance of death.
On a lighter subject, Tally, did
If you die, I will find your corpse.
He looks between like a bit happy what happened before, but he looks a bit offended, and he's like he's like, excuse me. He grabs a bottle and he's just like he puts himself in the corner and starts to look next to Vroon, starts to drink the bottle and gives the bottle of wine to Vroon like, here you go.
Avi is pretty much looking at, sort of staring down daggers at Risha. It's like, yeah. Sorsha, you were saying something to Tally?
Yeah, I'll probably just continue and say, Tally, you see, with Richard, I couldn't even distract the subject but by asking you, how did you enjoy your present?
Immediately, Avi and Embrick's attention goes, and Tally's been a bit of it in his cups, and he's going, well, the opportunities have been interesting
Oh,
and explored.
I drink to that.
yes, that's that.
Yes. Well,
To new experiences.
and to new habits.
Ooh.
As he sort of plunges his look into the
Oh.
cups.
No.
To new habits.
Yeah. Now, let's just say she's keeping it warm for now. Anyways, so Chalt is it? And Vroon, you're from there, yes? Tell us a bit about. And the conversation turns to Chalt in general, and it's definitely that moment where, how should I put it? People learning about who never knew about Australia except in name, learning about Australia, and
So
there's
Yes,
Chult.
the sheep are poisonous too.
exactly.
It's Chult. The weather, the habits, the cities. Make that the city.
Yeah, it turns into and you find the situation sort of lightens up a bit up as um a lot of the things that you speak of very seriously are played for laughs, and then they realize, oh shit, you're serious. Wait, what do you mean the plants can strangle? And then, Fala looking at it, oh yes, absolutely. By the way, if you can bring me a couple of those. and, and there's definitely that sort of then you start, there's that discussion between Tali and Fala as to, oh no, that kind of wood, that could make amazing things. Yeah, I could, and the conversation moves about as to the opportunities of Chalt and the exotic.
I was definitely going to send you back some dancing monkey fruit.
I know what they do. And Fala at some point goes, sort of going, yeah, no, maybe. Aren't those? And she says, I don't think those pass customs.
No, I assume they do not.
um, but yeah, and so as we fade out from the conversation and the laughs, again we have this sort of pull through outside of the main hall, as another toast is being given to the Troll Skull Thrashers, um, heroes of Waterdeep. And as we pull back up from the clouds, there's most likely we pull away, and just as we pull through the clouds, we would start hearing just before the credits sort of roll, we would starting to hear the crackling of leaves and rain on the jungle leaves, and the soft sort of chattering of monkeys. And that's where we're going to leave off for tonight.
Hey.
Away. Well done.
Good session, guys.
Yeah.
So next session will be, well, soon. And we'll be playing your departure for Chult, your arrival in Port Nyanzaru, and then it's going to be a long campaign.
Looking forward to it.
Yep.
So
That's what
Or
we
to
like
a
to
lot
hear.
of.
Hmm?
I'm looking forward to a lot of Porting Azara.
which means that I have 2 days to find my book because I need to read up on it. So
Well, it's in one of the boxes labeled RPG.
yeah, I should have been smarter about that. I should have labeled one open
D&D.
first. Open first with all the campaigns. Yeah. So anyhow, thank you for thank you for this evening. And to all those watching us on this, it's mostly going to be us four, right? I mean, we're the only ones going to be watching this thing, right?
That's five. If you're counting yourself in, it's us five.
No, because if I start counting myself, then I need to count all of the NPCs, and we're going to get busy. So I would ask the four of you not to watch this because there have been things popping up on my screen, but feel free to share them. And so for you who've been watching Friends of Friends of Friends, well, see you next time, and we hope to entertain you even further.
Bye.
Bye.